10 a.m., July 5, 2022. Need to have some conversations here. I considered doing this show earlier. I was actually going to do it Sunday. Sunday. And didn't get to it on Sunday. And then what was interesting is, yesterday on the 4th, we had another incident, mass uh, shooting, mass murder. It was like, oh, okay. You know, um, there's a lot of divisiveness in this country over so many different things. And we watch these things happen in real time, and two folks can watch the same thing and see something else. A lot of intellectual dishonesty, straight out lying. Who you gonna believe? Me or your lying eyes? So I want to go over some of these things today. They're all really back to back to back. And I don't know how anyone is able to justify what we keep seeing over and over and over again. And having the ability to make excuse after excuse after excuse for what it is or what it isn't. So let's get into the first one. Fair use. As always, viewer discretion is advised. As the news would say, some of the images you're about to see may be offensive. And it's like, maybe? That's always been really, really weird to me, right? So let's go ahead and get into this first one here. Mm-mm.
Custody accused of killing 2 police officers and shooting 6 other people in eastern Kentucky. Lance Storrs was booked into jail early this morning in Pike County. He faced multiple charges, including murder and 2 counts of murder of a police officer. This all happened in Allen City and Floyd County last night as deputies are trying to serve a domestic violence order. The sheriff says they came under fire and 2 officers were initially shot. The suspect then barricaded himself in a house, holding his family hostage. An arrest citation says 8 people had been shot by the time Storrs was arrested. 7 were officers, and 2 of which have died. The 8th victim was an emergency management director. The arrest citation says a police canine was also shot and killed. Is now in custody.
That's the first one here.
In Pike County.
All right, he got roughed up a bit. But he was taken into custody, killed 2 police officers, killed a police dog, which, they view as officers. Many view the police dog with more value than human life. That's a whole nother story. But he was taken alive. Relatively okay. Let's take a look at this one.
Investigator Megan Hickey has been digging into more on just exactly who this suspect is.
She is live at the Highland Park Police Department with what she's learned. Megan.
Joe and Erica, 22-year-old Bobby Cremo was a prolific rapper, but we're not using his artist name as to not further publicize his music. We did review many of his music videos. They are graphic, some are violent, and some depict gun violence. Last year, the suspect posted this video on his personal blog. It shows Central Avenue in Highland Park, the same street that became the epicenter of a mass shooting investigation, to the sheer disbelief of residents here. According to IMDb, the suspect's music tracks have amassed millions of plays across online streaming platforms. He started uploading his music to the internet when he was 11. We're not going to play the songs, but we've extensively reviewed the music videos posted to his YouTube page, which has since been deleted. They include images of cartoons holding guns. We're intentionally choosing not to show those images here. Residents here tell us his father, Robert Cremo Jr., is a business owner who ran unsuccessfully for mayor of Highland Park in 2019. Lake County court records show a motion for foreclosure on his Highland Park home was filed last week. As for the suspect, we did not find any publishable criminal background. Now, again, his personal social media accounts, YouTube accounts, blogs all appear to have been taken down, but slowly but surely some of those videos are being reposted and recirculating online. So we are continuing to learn more about this shooter and his extensive digital footprint. Live in Highland Park, Megan Hickey, CBS 2 Investigators.
All right, Megan, thank you.
So, the thing that's really interesting about this, the first thing that kind of took me strange was the fact that she used the prolific, right? He has a prolific, digital footprint online. That's just an odd choice of words. Odd choice there. We usually hear prolific in the positive. So I thought that was just really weird for her to use that word. Okay, that's the first thing. But what I really want to bring your attention to is the fact that this man killed all these people and he was taken into custody without incident. One kills cops, another one is killing civilians at a parade. He wasn't even harmed. Is there a pattern? No? Okay. Let's go show another one. Let's get into it here.
Right now, instead of celebrating the 4th of July, people are gathering at the State House to make their voices heard after a deadly police shooting in Akron and the Supreme Court's ruling on Roe v. Wade. We have crews on scene and we'll bring you live team coverage. But first, starting at 9 o'clock tonight, the city of Akron is under a curfew and 4th of July celebrations are canceled. New videos have been released in the deadly shooting of Jayland Walker. 10 TV's Lindsay Mills went through them, and we want to warn you, some of the video is disturbing. Lindsay, what are we learning about the officers involved in this?
Yolanda, those 8 officers are all on paid administrative leave tonight, and according to Akron police, all are white with the exception of one black male officer. One of the officers was a white female. 13 videos were released from cameras worn by those officers, and again, we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing. Officers run towards a car as it moves slowly over the sidewalk. The passenger door opens and you can see Jayland Walker wearing a mask get out and run away from the car. Officers start running. The officers begin firing at Walker. We're stopping the videos before they show Walker fall to the ground out of respect for his family. In all 13 videos, the 8 officers can be heard firing shots for at least 6 seconds. Authorities confirm Walker.
Oh, let me just pause that. No, let me rewind it. You're going to pause it and not show him fall to the ground. You show everything else, but the falling to the ground, that's the part that's too much. Go back in there.
The passenger door opens and you can see Jayland Walker wearing a mask get out and run away from the car. Officers start running. The officers begin firing at Walker.
I'm going to go back again. Let me see if I can pause here. Okay. He was shot more than 60 times. They got such a hard on. Look at this guy right here. His own fellow officers are in the line of fire. We have the first gentleman kills 2 cops, shoots a bunch of others, kills a police dog. His face is a little bloody. Second dude yesterday climbs up on a ladder, kills 6 people, wounds several dozen other. He's taken in without incident. This guy, he shot over 60 times.
From the passenger door opens and you can see Jalen Walker wearing a mask get out and run away from the car. Officers start running. The officers begin firing at Walker. We're stopping the videos before they show Walker fall to the ground.
Just, again, just make that make sense. And so you'll hear, split second, they were afraid for their lives, the safety of others, right? We get all that same stuff, right? We hear the same thing over and over again. How come they weren't afraid? He just killed 6 people and wounded several dozen others, right? You know what he did? Nah. Without incident. Not a problem. This guy, he kills 2 cops and a police dog. 5 others injured. Oh, his face is bloody. Yeah. Okay. Happy 4th of July. I was listening to some commentary, and some African Americans were very frustrated with other African Americans that were celebrating the 4th of July, trying to figure out what it was they were celebrating. And, it's like, yeah, Jalen Walker's family, they ain't celebrating. Most of Akron isn't celebrating. It looks like a war zone in Akron, Ohio right now. Just another day in America, right? So how do we what's next? Where do you go? The scary thing is you take all that stuff to the side, and it's like, dang, do I even take my daughter to a parade? To a grocery store? Is she safe at school? It's a scary time. It's a scary time. The bad thing is this is only going to escalate because there's more people find themselves hungry, homeless, hopeless. This violence is only going to increase. I mean, let's ask the question. Why are mass murders up this year? Over 300, by the way, in 6 months. It's damn near 2 a day. What is going on now that's so much worse than was going on last year? COVID, for all intents and purposes, the way this country looks at it, is over, right? Everyone's out and about. Things are open. Major league sports, concerts, parades. Everything is pretty much back to normal. So why are people so angry? What's the difference? What's the difference? The hypocrisy, the double standards in this country continue to persist. But somehow we just can't see it, or somehow it's different. Let's take a look at looking forward here. Let's take a look at this really quick.
Trial that was making the news this week. As you might know, Bill Cosby was on trial for an accusation of sexual abuse that took place back in 1975. Judy Huth alleged that she was forced into sex acts at the age of 16 at the Playboy Mansion. Well, yesterday, the jury ruled in her favor, making Cosby.
She was forced into sex acts at the Playboy Mansion at 16. In 1975, I was 2, by the way. Most of you listening weren't even alive. And the court awarded her $500,000.
Cosby guilty of liable for sexual assault of a minor and awarding Huth $500,000. This was after jury deliberations that had to be restarted on Monday after a juror was excused Friday at the mandatory court close of 4:30 p.m. So, Janine, I start with you.
Let me pause it there and pull this one up. So I'm not sure how you're able to charge someone almost 50 years later. But you can. So, I mean, either you do it for one or you do it for none, right?
Warrant found in the basement of a Mississippi courthouse last week has led to calls for a new arrest in the 1955 kidnapping and murder of Emmett Till. The 14-year-old from Chicago was visiting family down south when he allegedly whistled at a white female store clerk. The clerk's husband and another man were acquitted by an all-white jury, but later confessed in an interview. The newly discovered arrest warrant accuses the female store clerk of taking part in Till's abduction. Till's relatives want the woman, who is now in her 80s, prosecuted.
But she's bold, right? And at the time, if you go deeper into that story, they had the warrant way back then. And what they were saying is, she's got kids. She's a mother. So, okay. We say 2 wrongs don't make a right. We get all these things said to us, but somehow justice never seems to be served. The thing is at some point, is it going to be you or your family? someone you love, someone you know. Now, while I won't defend R. Kelly, they were able to hit R. Kelly with 30 years, but what they really stuck him with were RICO charges. You know what? Let's go ahead and figure out what RICO charges are. What are RICO charges? All right, it allows prosecution and civil penalties for racketeering activity performed as part of an ongoing criminal enterprise, such as activities may include illegal gambling, bribery, kidnapping, murder, money laundering, counterfeiting, embezzlement, drug trafficking, slavery, and a host of unsavory business practices. So, all right, you hit R. Kelly with the RICO charge. All right. Don't know if I agree with that or not. However, the question is, you have Giselle Maxwell. She goes to prison for what, 20 or 30 years for sex trafficking? Okay. Epstein committed suicide in prison. She was convicted of recruiting teenage girls for a financier, Jeffrey Epstein, to sexually abuse from 1994 to 2004. So as we know, Epstein wasn't, I mean, he probably did assault some of these women or girls, but he wasn't doing it by himself. So where are all the people? And this was in the 90s, right? This wasn't in 75 or 55. Where are all the people that were assaulting these girls? Where are they? Pretty powerful people on the island, right? Where are they at? It's the 4th of July. In America. It's 2022. What happened in Flint, Michigan? You've been watching the news? They just dismissed the charges. Go ahead and type that in there. So here we are. We have American citizens that don't have clean water. Looking for the article here. Looks like the prosecutor wants to try to keep everything alive, keep it going if he can. Prosecutors signaled Friday that they would pursue the same charges against former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder and 8 other in the Flint water crisis, just a few days after the state Supreme Court said indictments must be dismissed. Maybe you remember the Flint, Michigan residents showing you what their water looked like, what it was doing to them. But those charges were dismissed. A lot wrong. A lot wrong in this country. And I hear everything from, well, This is the best country on earth. Things are so much worse in other places. You should be grateful. Move. I just don't know how long we're going to keep allowing this to happen. The going along to get along. The pissing on our heads and telling us that it's rain. That what we're seeing isn't really what it is. You know, I don't have that footage handily available. But when the police officers were murdered in the Floyd County case, you know, officers, I think it was like some lead official was just sobbing in tears over the loss of the life of those officers. And it's like, you know, when it's us, there's no emotion. There's no empathy. If life is sacred, then life is sacred. But it's so interesting to see the juxtaposition of the weeping for the two men and the dog that died. And then the excuses and the 60 bullets for the guy running from the cops. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. But I know we're just watching it over and over and over again. And we keep seeing the same thing.
We're stopping the videos before they show Walker fall to the ground out of respect for his family. In all 13 videos, the 8 officers can be heard firing shots for at least 6 seconds.
Have you ever heard at a scene where an officer on the scene had to tell the other officers to cease fire? 8 officers hit him 60 times. We know all bullets didn't hit, so probably over 100 shots fired in a span of 6 seconds. I mean, I guess if I was trained, maybe I could squeeze the trigger that fast. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. The 8-pound trigger, correct?
The passenger door opens, and you can see Jayland Walker wearing a mask get out and run away from the car. Officers start running. The officers begin firing.
Again, they are in the line of fire.